Joining me now is Nationals MP Barnaby Joyce. Barnaby, Claire O'Neill maintains Labor can hit their goal no matter what the data says.
Not a chance. When you look at it, what has the government actually done removing government regulations, which they are responsible for? That is preeminent in this at the initial part of constructing a house. I was talking to a person the other day who went to renovate three units down on the coast, $200,000 in government charges before he'd even put a nail in. I went out to Denman the other day for them to extend an aged care facility in the upper Hunter in a small town on 10 acres of land, basically cleared, only a couple of trees on it. Listen to this, $3.5 million they're supposed to pay in carbon offsets. Yeah, this is the same governments that tell us they're going to fix the housing crisis. They've got no interest in fixing the housing crisis. They've got no interest in changing any of the regulations they get. They've got no interest in changing the money that goes in their way. They've got no interest in opening up the state forest so we get more timber. They've got no interest in changing how we deliver power so we can have more affordable componentry of houses. This has got no chance of flying the way they want, because they really, if you look down earnestly into their heart, they've done nothing to actually change the fundamentals of what it costs to build a house.
It's starting to look like Penny Wong's Washington trip might have been a total waste of time. The Foreign Minister returns to Australia with her hands as empty as the promises she left with. No trade deal, no clarity on AUKUS, still no dinner date for Anthony Albanese. Is this just another display of what we've just been talking about, Labor ineptitude?
Well, it's a display of what we have, rhetoric but no delivery. Rhetoric but no delivery in the housing market because they don't make any fundamental changes. Rhetoric, but we can't actually even get a cup of tea between the Prime Minister of Australia and the President of the United States. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, that's incredibly dangerous for us, incredibly dangerous during the review of AUKUS. And I know there's a tenuous type of approach now in the United States, but that should make us even more focused on nailing this agreement down, and we haven't. And we haven't got a feather to fly with. If China, a communist China, not the Chinese people, but a communist regime decides to pull us on, we better realise how important this is. And they haven't nailed this down. We're miles from home on this one, and that's really, really, really dangerous.
We've got this problem now, Barnaby, don't we, where I'm not sure many of the public actually believe what's coming out of the mouths of government ministers, whether it's Claire O'Neill, behind by about 285,000 houses, insisting it's all going to be fine, or Penny Wong, who boasts that because Anthony Albanese had 3 phone calls with Trump, that the relationship is A-OK. They just continue, renewable energy. We're going to be a renewable energy superpower. No one believes that, though we hear it all the time. I mean, they've got less credibility. Do you remember Iraq's information minister during the Iraqi war, who used to stand in front and... I mean, it's become like that, hasn't it?
Comical Ali was a phenomenal we gave to him. But yeah, we got comical Penny and comical Albo. It's just, and it's renewables, intermittent power. We're going to run Australia on intermittent power. We're going to change the temperature of the globe. It's insane, and it's doing us massive damage. And when we should be becoming as powerful as possible, as quickly as possible, basically throwing the rule book out the window and saying it's all about looking after our kids and our grandkids, because the world they're going to grow up is vastly different to the world that we were blessed with. We're not doing that. We're telling them we're going to change the rain. We're going to fight the weather. We're going to stop bushfires and droughts and cyclones all by ourselves, just with Chris Bowen and the dispatch box in Canberra. Pathologically insane. In the meantime, we've got flotillas doing live fire exercises in the Tasman Sea adjacent to Sydney, practising for Sydney.
Yeah, well, if rhetoric could build houses and if spin could defend the nation, we'd have nothing to worry about. But unfortunately, we actually require a government that gets things done. Speaking of which, here's some good foreign policy news. The Fijian Prime Minister has announced he doesn't want any China military bases in the Pacific. Have a listen to what he had to say today.
If they want to come, who would welcome them? Not Fiji.
That's good news for Australia, right, Barnaby?
That is good news, It just goes to show you the sort of pressure that's coming on those Pacific Islands from China. We haven't had the same sort of good news from the Solomons. We know China's been interested in Vanuatu, Timor-Leste, Kiribati, all these areas. They had a crack at Papua New Guinea. This is the encirclement of Australia. This is the greatest tactic, so they can get a foot on your throat and basically pressure you into submission onto their terms. And if that happens, Australia is basically over. You'll be living here, but it won't be the same nation. So having Fiji say that is good, but by gosh, that's another clarion call. Wake up, forget about renewables and intermittence and all this other tripe that you've been focused on. Focus on your nation. Just the fact that Sitiveni Rabuka had to say that shows that the pressure was on him to actually let the Chinese in.
Yeah, really good point. Barnaby Joyce, it's always good to speak with you. Thanks for joining me tonight.